Hello everyone, welcome to today's session. In this session, we are going to see action or command called read. Read is in a way very simple, reading from the screen, taking an input from the screen and storing it in a variable and using it for our processing purpose. So there are three variants as you have seen, which is DOM, then you have region, and you have path, XPath. Also there is image, which you can use it from a variant standpoint, but in a normal context, there are three ways to use it. Let's see an example in more details. Well, welcome back. Launch your Notepad++ and let's get started. So we are going to see first example, that is read example. See example with the DOM identifier, which you're going to use it. Try to store it in a variable. Let's take variable get text from screen. Let's make it empty to start with. And let's launch a website. That is, in this case, we'll use our favorite Investopedia //www.topedia.com. And once it's launched, we'll wait. Let's just confirm what you have in this variable. Let's go and echo this before reading variable value, that is get screen. Now let's read, and read as per syntax we say element and to the variable currently is this variable, so we're going to store it in this variable. And once we are done with it, let's basically paste or echo say after reading variable. For our processing, let's just delay it for byte 2 and let's save this desired location where your save in this location, say read example dot tag and say enter. So let's check whether this is going to work. Let's go there, launch our Google Chrome, and let's go to our website Investopedia. So what we are going to do is let's get the developer tools on to find out the DOM. So go to developer tools and more tools, and then developer tools, in which we have a DOM object best CD rate. So we're going to just take this best CD rate, copy it, which is over here, and we're going to paste it in our read. So we're going to read the element which is bank copy rate. So what's going to happen is best CD rate value, whichever is there on the text, will get copied into a variable, and which we can able to see the value over there when we are going to display here. So at the start, this should be empty, and when this value basically gets in, it should basically display best CD value, meaning you can able to extract if we are able to identify an element, DOM element, and read can read the element and store it in a variable. So we are reading, read is operation which is on DOM, which we are taking, and the value which is there in the text value which is there for the DOM will be copied to a variable, that is we are get text from the screen, and when we are trying to display it, it can display, or we can use it for any kind of a validation. So let's save this code and let's try to execute it. So let's go back, close this, and launch our command prompt. Say cmd, and let's bring it here for a better viewing, and navigate to your destination where your TagUI code is located. So cd3 slash. Now you go and launch TagUI and read example dot tag and hit enter to check your code. So it launched. Now you can see it started and it navigated to Investopedia, which is what we wanted. We're waiting for 5 seconds, and we want to get best CD rate value into the variable and exit. So if you can see here, if you can notice, when we started before, this was empty, and when we finished, the value which was there for a best CD rate basically copied, meaning whatever the value we had in best CD rate is copied into the variable, which is we get text from the screens. So this is very useful for storing and validating it. For example, I can extend the same code which we have written, and I can come back. I can say if var get text from the screen equal to then echo best CD rates section is found in bestopedia.com home page, and else we can say not found, and save this. So if you can run it again, you can see this check happening. So you can validate, verify verifying item on the screen. So if you don't understand, if you have not watched earlier video on if conditional operators, review the conditional operator section and then go through that again to understand more how if else work. Sorry, it should be equals to. Basically equals to, there's no then here. So let's save it and let's try again. So it's blank now. CD is copied to this, and now if you can see here, that is section is found in Investopedia site, true. So condition is verified and it checks for the equal to aspects of it. The screen checked this is equal to this. If it is equal to, this part of the statement get executed, and if not, this part of the statement is executed. So in this way, what we can do is we can go get details from the screen, and you can verify it, or if you don't want to verify it, you can do other activities which we see. But having said that, the read with a DOM, so any DOM object can be read and able to put it in. This is the first version we have seen, read with a DOM object. We'll see another example, read with XPath. So let's go to another example. So to save time, let me copy this and take DOM with respect to this, and we'll take the similar example, read. Let's copy the whole section which you have and come back to our program code here. So now we have this one, so we're not going to change this. So let's go back to our google.com. Let's try to get some, let's apply some XPath. Go to developer tools. Let's try to find this link uniquely. To do so from an XPath standpoint, say Control F, so you can see this search box. Let's say we want to see about us link. So let's try to see the about us. So about us is there. So about us is a link, and let's try to see the link. Say // A is the link. So we have a 113 link, and let's just put it and at the rate attribute, and I would use ID. I'll say equal to because I saw there was an ID here in the anchor link. So when you click on this, so you have anchor, which is this, and let's use this ID, which you have it here, which is generally unique. So by that, we can able to identify this link uniquely. So when you click on it, you see only one link of that type. Now you can see there is only one link of this type on the screen, and we're trying to click this about, try to get this about us value text on the screen to a variable. So that's our goal. So let's copy this and go back to our earlier code. In this example, we'll be using XPath identifier with read variable. So go to our variable thing, apply the XPath, and write a comment saying about us link in home page. Read the about us link in the home page. Wait for a couple of seconds. Here we will check for about us. How does it look? Yeah, it is about s, small s. So we can say about us link is found on the home page, and about not found in Investopedia homepage. Let's save this and name it as read XPath example dot tag and save it. So let's come back to our command prompt, clear the screen so that we have a, and now you say tag UI and provide read, write your things, which is read XPath example dot tag, and hit enter to see if it is working. So it launched our Google Chrome and navigated to Investopedia, waiting for 5 seconds. Now before reading value is empty. It read the value over the, for that particular link, which is XPath, is about us. The about us is verified and the verification succeeded. That is about us link is found on the Investopedia page. This is an example of XPath. So if you see here, this is our XPath. So this value which is there in the XPath is stored in this variable, and we are using this variable here, which is we are displaying it. So if you can see here the screen, when you started it is empty. So this is what the blank empty screen was. That is the blank empty screen. Then the value basically get transferred, and after transferring you can see the value is about us. So once the about us is available, we did compare that. The comparison went on with the variable value versus what we are checking is it is correct or not. So if it is pass, this particular statement is executed. If it is fail, this particular statement is executed. Let's try to fail it to see about us link. Instead of saying about us, say about us one. We want to check, and in this particular case, this statement needs to execute it. So that will fully test our code, whichever we have written, and update this with 1 to make sure that this part of the code is executed if it is not able to identify, or if the variable value is about us is not equal to about us anyway. So it should technically be coming on to this section of it. So let's see if that part of section is getting executed or not. So run this and check. So launch. So Google Chrome did launch, and post launching it navigated. After navigating it, it waited for 5 seconds for the site to be loaded fully, and it applied that. And when you apply that, if you see now this part of the, as discussed, this part of the code we want to get executed, and right now the value which is shown here is not found, and that is what we want to do. If the value is not correct, than it is. So because the value which is supposed to be, which is on the screen, is about us, but we are trying to check for about us 1. So about us 1 is not equal to about us, so it is false, and this part of the statement got executed. So let me go back and fix our code with the correct result. So it should work for both the things. Save and run. So this finishes our XPath example. Now we'll move on to the next example where we would take the range, and I would be using exactly the same set of information which we have on the screen, and let's go for a new test. Say apply, and in this place we'll say range example identifier example. So we'll use the same. So here we have the text empty. We'll see what the value is. Now instead of using our x and y, which is start and end, x and y. So this is how the coordinate looks. So to get the coordinate, as in the past, for a range based any identification. So let's first save this. So saving wise, let's name this read range example dot tag and save. So this is saved, and now we come back and minimize it. Let's open our Investopedia site, and let's go back to our Investopedia. Let's say we want to get the value of news section, for example, in this from here to here. To get that, we have a tool which is our favorite tool. Click on our MPOS tool. So MPOS tool, we can have various things. I can go for the dark mode. So let's launch our Investopedia homepage. So we'll take the range. So we'll start our range. Starting range would be click on Control, Alt, and X. So you got the first coordinate, and then let's say if we want to get the second coordinate as here, which is again you can say Control, Alt, and X. So you got both the coordinates. So let's try to update these coordinates in our screen, right? So the first X coordinate which you have is 60, and which is start, and then Y coordinate is 572, and you can come back here and then say same thing. 513 is an X coordinate ending, and then 686 is a ending coordinate. So we can say 2 to this variable and wait for some time and run it. So let's save this. Let's try to go exit this tool so that it does not distract us. Let's minimize this. Let's close this so that we have a clean slate to operate, and let's clear the screen so that we have fresh execution. Go to your command prompt, say TagUI read range example dot tag and enter to test our code. So it launched the Investopedia, navigated. So it's trying to go and get the range value to the variable. So now if you can see, the range value is captured in the variable, which is mid-rate hike and sworn in stocks, which is investor sentiment of thin ice. So I guess which we wanted to capture it, and investor sentiment on thin ice amid rate hike sworn in stocks, right? So we got all the values, and that's been displayed. So here the checking value, the value of this is not equal to, probably our coordinate is little further away. We should have taken this coordinate, right, instead of saying this coordinate. Let's try to take it again and execute it. So click on this and launch our site a little bit so that we have a more accurate thing. So let's go over here and say Control Alt X. So we got it, and then let's go back and Control Alt X. So now we got it. Instead of 60, let's say 40, and this is 70. For a little bit more accuracy, instead of saying 13, let's say 18 and 687. So let's save this. Let's go back to our code again, click on this to close it and run our code to see if it's getting a correct value. So it's navigating and trying to get the values into the variable. So it got the values into the variable. Now it got the correct value. So if you can see this whole value and the correct value, all the text which are there, it's been brought in from the screen like this. And without using any of the XPath or identifier value, whatever the coordinate you had, that value has been copied and put into this variable, and that we have displayed it here. So this concludes read example. Thank you for watching. See you in another one.